This better be the best chair because it cost very nearly $500, taxes included. Unfortunately, we're not done because there's a situation that's best seen hereabouts. You see the level of difference between the left side and the right side, between the two armrests? Yeah, this one is nowhere near level, not even close. This is where it would be level, about 3/4 of an inch up on one side, something like that, maybe half an inch. So it's not level. That means that one side, say, is just above the top of the desk and the other one is hitting the desk. So what's at fault here? What's up with this now? Well, what's wrong is, well, it's not the armrest. The armrest is innocent, so we're gonna look further down what's going on here in metal fabricating. So this being an ergonomic chair, it is absolutely unacceptable that this side here is being 27.5 inches from the floor. Oops. And if I spin the chair around to get a measurement on the other side, that's in the neighborhood of 28 inches to the underside of this level, something like that. Okay, 28. Is the armrest at full extent? Yes, it is. Same for the opposite one. So let's take a look at where the problem starts here. So starting from the floor, measuring vertically up, the bend in the armrest is at 14 inches. But on the other side here, measuring vertically up, this bend is at 14.5 inches. What's wrong here? Well, the seat bracket here on one side is dissimilar from the bracket on the other side. That's because either the two brackets are not identical, or because the two brackets are mounted slightly differently. I'm gonna remove the armrests and put them side by side. Let me show you in this configuration here what the problem is. The tops of the armrests are lined up. The mold line in the polyurethane foam is lined up. If I put a stick here as a straight edge, I know it's gonna slide down, but believe me, I did measure between this straight edge here and this straight edge here, 8.25 inches there, 8.25 inches there. So these two are parallel with each other when it's not sliding down. So I'll show you what's wrong here. These two components are not parallel with each other. I know this is not the half an inch, but if this 3° or whatever it is in bending, where this bend is formed here, this 3° or whatever this angular difference is between the two of them, few degrees of difference in this angle, how the two brackets are bent at the factory, is the reason for that half-inch difference in height. What's the solution here? Well, we could argue with the manufacturer and replace whatever, but do I want to take this all apart and send it and box it all over again and send it back to the manufacturer? No. I think I can just make the two sides identical. Obviously the lower side will be bent up somewhere in a metal fabricating shop with appropriate tools. You can't stack one on top of another because they are mirror opposites of each other. So again, measured from the floor vertically up with the armrest removed, the bracket that holds the armrest, the lowest corner is 14 inches off the ground. And measuring again from the floor vertically up, this side here is 14.25 inches up from the ground to the lowest corner of this bracket there. So why is it that this one is a 1/4 inch higher than the other side? Well, see where this metal bracket is mounted in relation to the holes in the plastic? The leading edge of this metal bracket is approximately at the midline of this hole here, and on the other side the leading edge of this metal bracket here is at the top of the circle or at the end of the circle. Okay, so this difference in mounting from left side to right side further compounds the problem. So this needs to be moved. I hope that makes sense. And there's more as well. This that doesn't stay on, doesn't clip in place, doesn't have anywhere to go. It's just dangling like this. It's also crooked this way. The bigger problem again on an ergonomic chair is the difference in height for the armrest, and the problems start here. Assuming an even curvature to the piece of wood, that is the structural, you can see the wood here, that's the structural part of this chair. You can see that this metal bracket at the factory was installed this far away from this straight line and further away from this straight line. It's further away that way. You can see the hole in the plastic there. Assuming that the holes in the plastic are identical from left to right, it's obvious that something is wrong here. Again, the front of the bracket here is going through roughly half of the circle there, and the front of the bracket here is coming through not at the halfway point of the circle. Okay, now let's ignore the geometric differences in the plastic between the left side and the right side, the cutouts here and the lack of cutouts there. So I have drawn with a pencil the center line of these lines of bolts. So I'm going to measure from the center line to the center line of this bolt here to see what the difference is from left side to right side. And when I do that, let's just zoom in a little bit, maybe a little more, and line up, say, the 6-inch mark to the center line of it. I know this is approximate, but it's about 1 inch and 7/8 of an inch, or yeah, some such amount. Now on the other side, there you can still see the faint pencil line there. Let's measure, I don't know, from the 10-inch line to the center line of the bolt. It's about 1 3/4 inch, 1 13/16, so close to that 7/8 mark, but it's there at sitting at 1 3/4 or 13/16. The two sides are close enough. However, going back to my original point, one armrest is sitting 1/2 inch higher or 3/4 of an inch higher than the other. It has to be fixed. Some manufacturers, instead of having to deal with this problem with the brackets, manufacture the chair mechanism here that's being removed from here with these welded on the chair mechanism instead of separate parts, so as to avoid dealing with this misery. Why these measurements are almost identical, yet the armrests are still different in height, may have to do with slight imperfections as to, are these two parallel lines measured evenly out from the center line where the curvature of the chair is the greatest? Probably not. So to avoid all this misery with geometry, so some manufacturers just weld these on the chair mechanism, and that's it. This is all going back to the manufacturer. Thank you very much, Uline. Now, they are sending me a replacement one. Let's see if it's manufactured any better than this. After describing this metal fabrication disaster to Uline, they sent me another box of the same make and model. Again, this component here is flawless and works brilliantly. The backrest works brilliantly. The problem is with the seat and the location of these two brackets not being symmetrical, and the armrest itself, the two of them being fabricated dissimilarly. I'm gonna open the box to see if the new parts are any different. Alright, I've just removed the backrest. There's nothing wrong with the backrest. So on the underside of the seat, this is how this side is put together. So far so good. Let's see the opposite side. Yeah, it's halfway covering that hole and halfway covering that hole there. That's not gonna be resulting in an even armrest spacing. There's no point removing anything else from the package. It's going back to Uline. And just for curiosity, I've removed the new armrest. When I line up the mold line in the polyurethane foam, we've got the same mismatched ends that don't line up and aren't symmetrical, same as the old ones. Yeah, definitely going back to Uline.